the author of The Captain, which is available wherever you get your books right now, the memoir from the last Mets captain and a beloved figure in New York City, David Wright, here on the show. How are you, David?
Hi, Rich. Thanks for having me.
You bet. What do you think of the expanded playoffs that we're seeing right now? What do you think of this?
I respectfully, obviously, disagree maybe with you. I think that during my career, it was so hard to make the playoffs in baseball. And I don't know if there's a right or wrong, but, I treasured the few playoff appearances I got, and I couldn't imagine being a 500 or a sub-500 team, and making the playoffs. So I think that it's a little more special than, being a 500 team and making the playoffs. But, what do I know?
No, but, I mean, you I don't know. I mean, we saw, I guess, although it was a full season, but we've heard of teams like the Nationals or the St. Louis Cardinals, for instance, in recent days, go from a 500 team middle of the season, then all of a sudden they go on a tear and a run. Maybe that could happen. I mean, we have seen 6 seeds in the NFL win it all, and I don't think anybody sees it tarnished. I kind of don't mind it, but then again, I wasn't a professional baseball player.
I'm with you there because in 2006, we went to the playoffs, and I believe we had the best record in the National League, and we lost to the Cardinals in Game 7 of the NLCS, who everybody was saying backed their way into the playoffs to get there, and then all of a sudden they get hot in October, and they win the World Series. So I'm with you there.
Okay. So when did you first hear, I mean, where were you when you first heard the Mets took you and that you were going to be a New York Met, David? When did that happen?
It's funny. It was I was in my senior year of high school in Hickory High in Chesapeake, Virginia, and I had an anatomy and physiology exam. We were still in school on the draft, and I had to take my final exam. So I'm rushing home. I had my dad and some family members and some close friends over the house, and at the time it was the AOL dial-up, and that's the only way you could hear your name being called or drafted, for the Major League Draft. So, this thing is like making funny sounds, and we can barely hear the audio. And, I made it home after the first round, and I could kind of see that my name hadn't been called by the looks on my parents' and my friends' faces. And then, 38th overall, the Mets have the pick, and, they announce my name, and it's just, craziness in the house because our AAA affiliate, the Norfolk Tides, was 15 minutes from where I grew up. So we used to go to the AAA affiliate, the Norfolk Tides games all the time. So I grew up a displaced Mets fan in Southeast Virginia. So it was a dream come true for me.
Now, look, I know you're not just a captain because of how you played the game, but because of your comportment, your heart, and your leadership skills. That said, the minute you heard you were drafted, you said, screw that test, right? You didn't take that test, right?
No, I finished the test. I did pretty well on it. But no, my parents, my father was a police officer. My mother worked in the school system. So it was like, forget about the draft. You got to do good on this test.
Oh,
Baseball's never going to work out. Baseball's never going to work out. You got to have a plan B. You can't put all your eggs in that basket. So you better be a good student. So, school was always first in my household.
No, I know. And it isn't first in mine, too. But, I mean, senioritis certainly sets in when the New York Mets draft you, right? I mean, that's got to set in. Certainly when the Mets coming off of a World Series appearance against the Yankees. I mean, that's it right there.
It was pretty cool going to school the next day after your first-round draft pick of the New York Mets.
Yes.
That was cool going to school the next day for sure.
All right. David Wright here on the Rich Eisen Show. Toughest pitcher you ever had to face was? Whoa.
That's it probably depends on kind of which time of my career. When I first got called up, John Smoltz owned me. Could never see a slider. Then the Phillies traded for Roy Halladay, and that was – I might as well not even bring a bat up there. And he knew it too. Jose Fernandez was impossible for me. Craig Kimbrell, the closer for the Braves. Those are guys that just absolutely own me.
Who did you own? Let's be honest. Who did you like? I got this guy. Who's that?
I'd like to think if you were a lefty, you didn't have much of a shot because for some reason I saw lefties pretty good. One of the interesting ones was Brad Penny. For whatever reason, I saw him well too, and had great numbers against Brad Penny.
David Wright here on the Rich Eisen Show. Did you ever meet Seaver? Did you ever meet Tom? I know that the Mets and Tom didn't have that great of a relationship sometimes, but did you ever meet the late, great Tom Seaver, David?
So the franchise was around a lot when I was a younger player.
I love it.
And I developed a nice rap and a friendship with Mr. Seaver. For whatever reason, he saw something in me and wanted to mentor me. And I'd get a call, once a month, once every 6 weeks, from Mr. Seaver, and we'd talk about everything except baseball. He wanted to know what I was doing away from the field, what I was doing to occupy my time, what I was doing to take my mind away from the failures of baseball. And that helped me out tremendously. And one of my biggest regrets was he ran a vineyard up in Northern California, up in Napa.
Yep.
And he invited me up there numerous times. And he said, if you come, I'm going to put you to work. I got a pair of boots for you. And I never took him up on it, and I certainly wish I had.
I bet. But how cool is that, though? That you're a young kid trying to make your bones in New York City. Obviously, the Yankees, when you were coming up, with a former Met manager and Joe Torre winning all these World Series, you're trying to make your bones. And Tom Seaver says takes a liking to you. That is amazing. That is so cool. You gotta love that.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's as good as you just said it, times it, by 100. It was so cool having, the one of the best players to ever put a uniform on, to kind of take you under his wing and want to teach you about not just baseball but life.
So, what's your favorite moment as a Met, David? Give it to me. What was it?
2015 World Series. I mentioned earlier I grew up in Southeast Virginia, and out in the backyard with my dad and my grandfather, and they had this big old wooden bat that they taught me how to, play baseball with a wiffle ball. And being Mets fans, my dad read about Greg Jeffries taking swings underwater with a wooden bat. So he throws me in my grandfather's pool, and I'm taking swings underwater and we're in the backyard, and it's, World Series, here comes the pitch, whack, home run. And fast forward to 2015, I got that opportunity to live out the dream and win a pennant, a National League pennant for the New York Mets. Go to the World Series, and ultimately we lost it. But, to hit a home run in the World Series and to, wear that World Series patch on your shoulder and your hat, for me was a dream come true.
Now, I'm biased. I'm from Staten Island. I am a Yankee fan, full disclosure.
Nobody's perfect.
Well, David, we know deep down in your memoir was excised from the book as you wish you were a Yankee. That's true, right? That chapter got edited out.
Not quite.
Okay, not quite. No, but I am biased. There's nothing like the cheer of a New York crowd. There's nothing like it. There's a certain roar. There's a certain, I don't know what it is, a timbre to it. There's nothing like it for me. Nothing for me growing up.
Question, and I don't tend to give Yankees or Yankee fans credit, but the roll call is pretty special. And, some of my favorite games, regular season games, were, as much as we try to play it down,
yes.
The Subway Series means nothing. It's just another game.
Oh, that's not true.
It was always really cool to go into the old Yankee Stadium or the new Yankee Stadium, hopefully win, but to be, there for the roll call and, some of the cool antics that they got out there in the bleachers.
Well, I wasn't just referring to Yankee fans. I'm referring to Met fans, too. We were recounted the other day. It was the 19-year anniversary of Piazza hitting the home run in the first game back in New York City. I imagine that was just freshly after you were drafted by the Mets. Yep. Just that moment, just hearing the fans in the crowd and what it meant to the city, it just brought me to tears just thinking about it, David. And I know you weren't there yet, but you just knew what the Mets could do for the city right then and there, and then you showed up pretty much not too far behind.
Right. Speaking as a Mets fan,
yes.
That was my favorite Met moment. No question, was the Piazza home run after 9/11.
It meant so damn much. So what should people know about your memoir, The Captain, a Memoir, David? What do you want people to know about that?
It was fun because, I never in my wildest dreams would I think that I would write a book or there'd be a book written about me. But when I was approached to do this project, as an athlete, I don't think you get the opportunity to kind of live in the moment and kind of enjoy what you're doing while you're doing it. You're always looking forward to that next challenge, or you're worried about John Smoltz or Roy Halladay pitching the next night. You're trying to prepare for that. So getting a chance to kind of relive some of these great lifelong memories that I'm going to have on a baseball field, and, watch the video and replays and, talk about, different perspectives and what you were thinking at the time, was really cool for me to be able to kind of go back and cherish those moments. And, a quick funny story is I got a chance to pick out like 30 personal pictures for the middle of the book. And, my parents are on the East Coast. We live out on the West Coast now. And I asked my dad, can you send me some childhood pictures? I want to go through them and pick some. So I get like 4 huge FedEx boxes on my doorstep. And going through those pictures of, me as a baby or me holding a bat for the first time and, me with family and amateur baseball and minor leagues. And even when I was in the big leagues, my mom coming down to the on deck circle and taking a picture with her camera, like, hey, David, it's your mother. Turn around and say cheese. Some of that stuff really brought a big smile to my face and really enjoyed kind of reminiscing and going through everything, good and bad of my career.
Well, David, I've got a diehard Met fan wearing a Met hat. Your jersey is to his left. He's in charge of our social media. He's TJ Jefferson. The name of the show is The Rich Eisen Show. There is an I in Rich and Eisen, but I'm a team player. TJ, do you want to ask David a question?
I
One of your favorite Mets of all time. The floor is yours, TJ.
What's up, Cap?
I appreciate that. Hey, TJ.
So, new ownership. Steve Cohen just bought the team. I think we're all pretty much excited about that. My question to you is, can you see yourself making a return front office to the field as a manager, coach? I mean, what's the future looking like for you? Can we entice you to come back home?
Kind of put me on the spot here. I'll say this, that I don't foresee myself coaching or managing. I tried to coach my daughter's co-ed 3- and 4-year-old T-ball team this year, and it didn't go well. Let's put it that way. Moving forward, I love that organization. I want to be a part of it. If there's some sort of part-time role where I love, I got the opportunity the last couple of years to go to spring training and work with some of the younger infielders.
Right.
I really enjoyed that. I've done a little bit of front office stuff. I've enjoyed dabbling in that. So I think I like doing a little bit of everything, not necessarily focusing on one thing. But, yes, I would love to continue to be a part of the organization.
Well, I mean, one of the first moves was to bring Sandy Alderson back in, and you must have a nice relationship with him, David.
I do. One of the most respected men in baseball, in my opinion. I mean, not just because of his background, but, what he's done in baseball and the respect that he demands. I think Sandy's going to flourish. So
I am mandated to ask you in the couple minutes I have left is why didn't it go well with the T-ball? What happened? What happened?
I think I maybe was tried to too disciplined. I think I was more of a Tom Coughlin, and I think I had to be more of a player's coach.
Okay.
I demanded excellency from the 3- and 4-year-olds, and
right.
When I think I showed them up on the field a little too much. When they run the wrong way on the base pass, I had bad body language. And I don't think the parents appreciated that very much. So I think I need to take a step back, take a deep breath, and maybe become an assistant coach next year.
Did you get run, David? Did you get run? Is that what happened? Did you get the gate?
We're kind of our own umpires, sort of.
Okay.
So, I tried to talk a little trash to the opposing coaches, and I don't think they like that either. So, I'm trying to find my balance between, they're 3 and 4 and trying to tame the competitiveness. But, it was a lot of fun and rewarding, and, hopefully they'll have me back next year.
Well, we all know, again, you got the gate because even with the ball on a tee, Joe West blew it. So we know that, David. We know that. We know that.
You said it, Rich. You said it.
All right. Before I do let you go, who do you think wins the World Series this year?
What? It's such an easy pick. Not easy, but it's kind of a cowardly pick. But the Dodgers. How do you not pick the Dodgers? I don't know. That's a good one. The Yankees look good.
Okay.
Last night, but I'm going to stick with the Dodgers. They've been so close for so long, and I really admire that organization from a developmental aspect and what they've done at the big league level. So I'll take the Dodgers.
David, thanks for the time. Congrats on the book. I love this chat. Again, what you did on the New York stage is nothing short of remarkable, and you have a place in the heart of New York sports fans forever. And congratulations on having that moving forward in your life. Call back, please.
I appreciate the kind words. It even means more coming from a Yankee fan. So
You know
I appreciate
what?
that.
It is heartfelt, but it's also buoyed by the fact that the Yankees got a ton of rings, and it makes me feel happy.
Touche. You get the final word.
You take care, David. Thanks for the call.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. The Captain, available wherever books are acquired. The great David Wright. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.